sorry. So they Ashtaprayeshu Apatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati
Nashtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Rangayate Guru Yat Kripatam Vande Shri Guru Devasaram Dharmananda Madhum Shri Chakravarti. So start with the shloka number 41 onwards. Yes. Yes. Yena swadhamni amibhava raja sattva tamomayaha gunanama kriya ruper vibhavayante yatha tatham. So in the interest of time, we will read the translation and we will try to discuss something about what Prabhupada is talking in the purport, but I will try to brief it because there are no shlokas. I hope it is okay in the treatise. So, translation. The supreme cause of all causes, Narayana, is situated in his own abode in the spiritual world. But nevertheless, he controls the entire cosmic manifestation according to the three modes of material nature, which are Sattva, Sattvaguna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. In this way, all living entities are awarded different qualities, different names, such as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, different duties according to the Varnashrama institution, and different forms. Thus, Narayana is the cause of the entire cosmic manifestation. So, we have read in Bhagavad Gita also, in the very first shloka of Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo. We had done a small exercise of how to apply that also in our real life in one of our last previous session during Bhagavad Gita. So everything that we see around us has its origin in the Lord, not only for its creation, but also for the sustenance. We had taken the example of the fan, right? The fan that we see in our house, not only all the ingredients of that fan has come from Krishna, but even that electricity which is used for the fan to function, even that is also coming from Krishna. So there cannot be anything which has its existence without Krishna. And as it is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam's Chatushloki also, if we are able to see something not in relation with Krishna, then it is nothing but Maya. Okay, and there have been series of proofs that the Lord has given to us. Another one is from Brahma Samhita, Ishwaraha Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the Swarata, Abhignaha Swarata, which is also mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1. For him, there is no other cause, but he is the cause of everything. In Brahma Samhita, again, it is mentioned that he is Surabhi Abhipalayantam. He is serving Surabhi cows who are capable of giving anyone anything. In the Goloka description, also in Brad Bhagavata Amrita also it is mentioned. So our situation, Prabhupada mentions in his purport, is dog abhipalyantam. People we see around us are keeping dogs and they are serving those dogs. Okay, whereas our real position is to be in Goloka because we have come from there, and we will see in the following shlokas also what is our real position and what we are doing, why we are stuck, what has to be done to come out of that. Okay, so it is mentioned that Krishna never leaves Vrindavana even for a moment. and still he is everywhere. Okay, it is not possible for anyone else. For us, okay, because of with our imperfect senses, imperfect eyes, because we cannot see Krishna everywhere. That's why he takes the form of Archa Vigraha, so that at least with our these imperfect eyes, we can see Krishna. Okay, and if we just count this Archa Vigraha as just some statue, this is our most biggest unfortune. He who has thousands and thousands of Lakshmis serving him constantly in Goloka Vrindavana has mercifully taken the form of Archa Vigraha, so that even if we are imperfect, we can see him. Okay. Still, if we question, Prabhupada mentions about this thing, people say Krishna is everywhere. Then why temple? And Prabhupada cross questions this thing. If Krishna is everywhere, then with the same theory, at least he should be there in temple also. But these atheist people say, no, they are not in temple. They don't withstand with their own theory itself. If we just need the minutest part of the faith, and then rest of the show can be taken forward by Krishna. Okay, he is doing everything for us. Okay, and he is appearing in this form so that we can see him, we can purify ourselves. So it is our biggest fortune. And same way, when we count our guru as an ordinary person, this is another symbol of our misfortune. Okay, so in the same lectures, in the same shlokas lecture, Prabhupada mentions that we need to hold the feet of our guru, because he is the one who opens our eyes, right? Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjala Shalakaya. So that is our only hope. So I'm reading this translation again, so that what we discussed, we get more clarity of this. The supreme cause of all causes, Narayana, is situated in his own abode, right? Krishna never leaves Vrindavana in the spiritual world. But nevertheless, he controls the entire cosmic manifestation according to the three modes of the material nature, which are Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, and Tamo Guna. Because we people are always in these, under the influence of these three gunas. Okay, so it is our limitation. Okay, we are going to discuss it more in detail in the following shlokas. In this way, all living entities are awarded different qualities, different names. Okay, this is very interesting. Okay, such as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishyas, and Sudra. Importantly, Shudra is not mentioned here. Okay. Prabhupada says that in Kali Yuga, all are Shudras, because we are trying to work for someone else. Okay. Different duties according to the Varnashrama institution and different forms. Thus, Narayana is the cause of the entire cosmic manifestation. Is the Sarva Karana Karanam. Okay. Next, very important shloka, eye-opening shloka. Suryo Agnihi Kham Marudevaha Somaha Sandhya Anidishaha Kham Kuhu Swayam Dharma iti Ete Dehe Asya Sakshinaha. So, many people, okay, they say we do believe in only those things which we can see from our eyes. Okay, Prabhupada gives his own example that when he was studying in the Scottish Church College, then there were some teachers who were teaching Bibles, and then they were questioning all the students, including Srila Prabhupada, that why do you Hindus believe in karma? Who has witnessed it? Can somebody show it? And then this verse is the answer of those. Okay, so there are series of witnesses, which are the sun, fire, sky, air, demigods, moon, evening, day, night, directions, water, land, and super soul himself. They all witnesses the activities of the living entities. So see, if somebody says that I do not accept the supremacy of the Lord because you cannot prove to me immediately. Okay. For example, we have discussed this thing earlier also. Like if someone says, I don't accept the supremacy of the Lord. If the Lord is there, let it rain in next 5 minutes. See, it has been 30 minutes. It is still not raining. And hence I do not accept the supremacy of the Lord. And because these words are put into a very sophisticated manner, so unless we have the right scriptural knowledge from the right source, we often get influenced by this jugglery of the words. So it is exactly like the example that we taken, like, for example, in morning if I'm doing toothbrush, okay, in my house, and if I suddenly find in my balcony there are say a group of 100 ants, I am paying the EMI of the house, but these 100 ants in one corner of my house, suddenly how they have appeared, I don't know. Suddenly they are planning, this is our house, they are inviting a meeting, okay, talking about this is our today's plan, okay, this house today we will do this thing, and they don't accept. I'm just giving an analogy. They are not accepting that I am the owner of this house, but they are planning in themselves. And mistakenly, I have not seen these ends also. Will I be impacted by those so-called round table conference, or table will not be there, of course, some biscuit might be there, so round biscuit conference, or, okay, so I don't even need to know such or some such meeting is going on in my house, and unknowingly if I just rinse after toothbrush on that side, they will think it is a flood that has come in their area. So point is, Lord had so many important things, okay, and more important than he has such a bigger heart. He does not need to respond to our foolish activities, okay. And if someone says I can do my things without Lord knowing it, then no one can escape from these witnesses. So we have to be very, very careful. We should be taking care of our character, of our bhakti more carefully than we took care of our precious things. Precious things can be earned again, time and again. Things will come. We have seen it because it has gone and it has come. But once this lifetime has gone, we will not know it. We don't know when we will get the next opportunity. So, and like a small interesting line about this is like someone maybe so intelligent like Hiranyakashipu Prabhu, okay, that he may find an equation not in day, not in night, not in earth, not on the top, not below, right? No weapon no animal, no human, someone may still find an equation which somehow I'm not able to think, but if somehow someone is able to find an equation which can meet these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So total 13 witnesses are there. Somehow, if someone is able to find an equation which satisfies these 12 parameters, but the 13th one, super soul, how he can remove that? Super soul is always there in the heart. That cannot be separated. If that is separated, we ourselves are not alive. So many witnesses are there to note down our actions and intentions. We'll go to the next one. Eter adharmo vikyatah sthanam dandasya yujyate sarve karmanurodhena danda arhanti karinah. Prabhupada says the candidate for punishment are those who are confirmed by these many witnesses to have deviated from their prescribed regulative duties. Okay, everyone engaged in fruitive activities is suitable to be subjected to punishment according to his sinful acts. So when we move away from our prescribed duties, we are bound to be punished. We cannot say, bring me the witness, because Krishna, out of his mercy, has given us this little liberty wherein we may or may not accept the supremacy of the Lord. But once this human form of the life is gone, in all other forms, we are not there to question. We are there to just bear the cost of our mistakes that we have done. Meaning, if somebody has to just do the sense gratification, then this human form of life is the biggest cost and the biggest loss that we are using it for. Because in this, all other lives other than human form of life, if we do some sins, we are not going to incur new karmas from them. Okay, only in this human form of life, anything bad if we do, we are going to face the consequences of that. And even for good also, we have to come again to experience that happiness, so-called happiness. In the first canto, first chapter, Srila Prabhupada says that in this material world, there is no happiness. Someone may say there is a very minute happiness. No, Srila Prabhupada says very clearly, there is no happiness at all. It is just an illusion that we are getting happiness. Same like that camel example we have heard, right? Camel feels that this thorny bushes, they are giving some rasa to it, but it is his own blood. So we have to abide by the laws of the state, even for small traffic rules, right? Then why not for our supreme ultimate religion, which is Jivere Saurupoe Krishnera Nityadas. We are the eternal servant of the Krishna. How we are servant? Because Mame Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sana. Mame Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So Krishna is saying these jivas are my parts and parcel. And we know that example of hand, right? A hand, if the hand wants to be happy, it has to serve the body. Because every part of the body has to serve the body as a whole. We cannot be an exception to that. How we cannot be exception? We have tried it enough in so many previous lives. Now we cannot say, I don't believe in karmas, because we have studied in the previous sloka only. Okay, for the sake of debate, assume I still don't believe in my previous life. We all are at least have spent good number of years of our life, even in this form, even in this current Janma. We have tried it enough. Our situation is exactly like an example His Grace Chaitanya Charanadas Prabhuji had taken recently when he had come to Bangalore. So he was telling, like, if a man goes to a girl and proposes her for marriage, and if the girl asks, why should I marry you? The man says, because I have tried all other girls. All have said no. You are the only one left. Will you marry me? And if that girl still accepts us, he is Krishna. Because we have tried. We have tried it. We have tried all the so-called other options of happiness in our life. We are not getting it. And this girl, sorry, I'm just taking that as an example of analogy, never questions. He is waiting for us. Okay. So choice is ours. Whether we want to wait more or we have got tired. It is Krishna who gives the energy also. If we have not got tired, Krishna has a bigger reason to convince us later. But let us accept this, at least theoretically. Next one. Sambhavanti hi bhadrani vipritani chanagaha karinam guna sangosti dehavan nahi akarmakrit. O inhabitants of Vaikuntha, you are sinless. But those within this material world are all karmis, whether acting piously or impiously. Both kinds of actions are possible for them because they are contaminated by the three modes of nature and must act accordingly. One who has accepted a material body cannot be inactive, and sinful action is inevitable for one acting under the modes of material nature. Therefore, all the living entities within this material world are punishable. So, when we have taken the form, okay, when we are basically bound to do some action, okay, we cannot remain without any action. So, those within this material world, okay, they are all karmis, whether they are acting piously or impiously. And both kinds of actions are possible for them, means pious and impious, because they are contaminated by the three modes of the nature. One who has accepted the material body cannot be inactive, very important. Okay, he cannot be inactive, and sinful action is inevitable. For whom? For one who is acting under the modes of the nature. Okay, so what we should do? We should look for the knowledge. Otherwise, what will happen? Based on the three modes of the nature, we will be always doing some karma. So the most intelligent thing is to understand why we are into this cycle, why these three modes are affecting us. Okay, and that is possible only with the right knowledge. And for this, Srila Prabhupada gives an example of a story of the. It is from Panchatattva, where one lion is there and one rabbit is there. So that lion eats, he makes a lot of havoc in the jungle, and then somehow they make a policy that every day one animal will go. And finally, the turn of a rabbit comes. That rabbit was in mode of goodness. He was intelligent. So he gets an idea that I'll go to the lion and then say, first of all, he intentionally went late. And then he told to the lion that I got late because there is some other lion who was threatening me, and somehow I took your name and I came here. And then this lion, it is very important. We all have heard this story. Message is this lion, who is the most powerful animal in the whole forest. Nobody can say anything to him. They all have to follow the instructions of this lion. See what is happening with him. This intelligent rabbit is saying, because I was threatened and there is another bigger lion, he wanted to eat me, but I told, no, I'm the food of you. And then he somehow traps in and then tells, this lion asks, okay, show me who's that bigger animal. I want to fight with him, and then I want to become the conqueror. And then he takes him to a well, and this lion is still treating this rabbit as a friend. And then he sees his shadow, and then he makes sound, and the bigger sound comes from the well, and then bigger roaring. Okay, and then he challenges, and then finally to attack him, he jumps into the water, and then he loses his life. So moral of the story is not in being powerful, not in being more and more resourceful. Why? Because we are somewhere or another the same lion. Because we have been given enough so that we can live our life. When I say given enough, I actually mean enough intelligence, enough resources, right? So to live our remaining life in a normal, peaceful manner, understanding what is our real purpose of the life. If we are looking, very important statement, okay, for all of us, especially just for me, if we are trying to become the only lion in this forest, we are going to face the same thing what this lion faced. Because I am Kalosmi. Krishna is Kala, and nobody can withstand in front of him. We are going to face exactly the same. Our rabbits might be different. It can be Maya. Okay, Maya, Dakshina, Prakriti. Krishna is saying she is my power. Nobody can conquer her. So, choice is again ours. So, if we want to get the right decision, we have to get the right knowledge, which is there in the Vedas, because Vedas are the absolute knowledge. Krishna says, Sarvasya chaham hridisannyavisto matta smrtir jnanam apohanam cha vedescha sarver ahameva vedyo vedanta krit veda vid eva chaham. I am the compiler of the Vedas. I have written them. I am to be known. I give you intelligence. I give you forgetfulness. What else is left? Okay, and if we are still not able to understand, even theoretically, why all these things, how it is possible, we must have at least this much mercy on ourselves, that Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If we have any amount of faith on this Mahamantra, the intelligence to understand the Vedas will be provided by the mercy of Mahamantra. We absolutely need not to have any qualification. Our only qualification that we need to know is that we are not qualified. We have been given a chance. We have been given an environment by Srila Prabhupada, who has left his everything to create this environment for us. Okay, next, 45. Yena yavana yatha dharmo veha samihitaha sa eva tat phalam bhunte tatha tavad amutravai. In proportion to the extent of one's religious or irreligious actions in this life, one must enjoy or suffer the corresponding reactions of his karma in the next. So, to understand this thing, the actions that we are doing right now, 21st May, 8:45 p.m. India time, actions that we are doing right now are deciding what will be our next life after this. So there is something called one-to-one mapping, right? Means for every one thing here, there exists one thing post this life. So if it is so tightly coupled that my 1 second of bad is going to give me 1 second of bad from in my next life. Okay, it should open our life. Okay, in this regard, Srila Prabhupada mentions in his lecture to this verse that because we are a living force, super soul, that Atma, okay, because of that living force, we cannot remain without any action. We saw it just before in the previous sloka also, in the translation. So we are bound to do some actions. Okay, so when Srila Prabhupada says, when he finds a person running, okay, then at the same time, like, there are dogs in the street also, which are also running. And here, Srila Prabhupada beautifully quotes Rabindranath Tagore, who had gone to London, and then he saw everyone is running. People in England running in high-speed motor car, very high speed. So he poetically he said, people are running at such a high speed. Why? Where they want to go? I mean, where they want to approach to? Okay, are they all going to fall down in some hell? Point is, okay, coming back to Srila Prabhupada, whether a dog runs at 5 km/h speed, or whether a human being in a car runs at the speed of 50 km/h or 100 km/h, higher the speed, we know what it is now. So when this human form of life is given, we can take use of the car and we can run at a higher speed. When we are in the form of a dog, we do not have the intelligence to make motor car, and we have to run at the speed of 5 km. If the purpose is to run, very important point here. If the purpose is to run, then this human form of life is not the very best, very good choice. Tiger can run even at a higher speed. The purpose is to question athato brahma jigyasa. The purpose is to is to ask the question, why everybody is running? Why I am one among them who is running without any knowledge, without any motive? Because we have seen generations and generations, right? They have been doing exactly the same thing which we are doing. And very powerfully on this thing is those whom we feel will remember us, okay, for whom we are doing our actions today. They themselves will not be there on this earth. And even there will be no person on this earth who will remember them in 100 years from now. This is a study. I will say in Hindi, it goes very powerfully. जो हमें लगता है कि हमें याद करते हैं 100 साल के बाद उनको भी याद रखने वाला कोई नहीं होगा. हाँ, this goes well. Yes. So why to put all these efforts? Okay. So we all are, if without we know the purpose of our life, we are just running. Higher speed means we are reaching quickly to our wrong destination. So we have done 5 shlokas. We are running out of time. Any one question, comments up to here before we go to the next? I'll continue then. Yathena deva paravaras karai vidyam upalabhyate bhuteshu guna vichitretat tatha tathanyatanu yamyate. O best of the demigods, we can see 3 different varieties of life, which are due to the contamination of the 3 modes of nature. The living entities are thus known as peaceful, restful, and foolish, as happy, unhappy, or in between, or as religious, irreligious, or semi-religious. We can deduce that in the next life, these 3 kinds of material nature will similarly act. So, in this shloka, Srila Prabhupada mentions that there are 3 kinds of proof. Okay, 3 ways of learning. Okay, one, pratyaksha pramana, second is anumana, and third is shruti or the shabda pramana. So the one who is very intelligent just understands from the shabda pramana. Okay, and Prabhupada takes an example of mango. Like everyone knows, in summer season mango comes. So though nowadays because it can be preserved, I'm talking about normal time. I'm not talking for the time when we have motor car to run 150 km per hour. So best thing is to understand from by hearing, and if that is not possible, right, sometimes we want to experience, sometimes we at least understand by our own experience. And 4th grade are those who cannot even, who does the same mistake again and again and still does not learn. So this Vedas gives us the Shabda Pramana, because that is the absolute knowledge which is which is the source of all the knowledges. Sanatana Goswami says in Krishna, I heard this morning, I'm not able to recall it, but the sense of the it was the glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam. So there he mentions how much ever unsaintly a person is, with the shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, he can become the most saintly person. It is our life and soul, Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have to take the shelter. And most important line that I liked in that session was, there is no eligibility. Okay, when to start Srimad Bhagavatam. So everyone is eligible, and whatever we lack, it will give us. It will give us conviction. Why this path is so important? Why should we do chanting? All our questions, we will get the answers. These are the case studies. Okay. Next one. Vartamano ananyo kalo gunabhigyapako yatha evam janma yayor etad dharma dharma nidrasanam, nidadarshanam. Just as springtime in the present indicates the nature of springtimes in the past and future, so this life of happiness, distress, or a mixture of both gives evidence concerning the religious and irreligious activities of one's past and future life. On this, Srila Prabhupada says that we are eternal, we as a soul, okay, and because we are into this body, so we have to experience past, present, and future. And very nicely, Prabhupada says that the past, present, and future of Brahma is different than our past, present, and future. And it is different than the past, present, and future of an ant. They all are into material world, material creations, but depending on their consciousness, okay, the form of the life they are into, their experience of the time also differs. So, in this regard, I heard recently from a very nice Prabhu, His Grace Maharaj Prabhu here. So he was explaining. He's from ISKCON Kolkata. He has been visiting here in Bangalore. So he was mentioning that in this material world, we are always into past or future. As it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 18.54, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Sochati Na Kankshati Samay Sarveshu Bhuteshu Madbhakti Labhate Param. So, means we are either lamenting for the past or we are desiring something of the future. So, in this form of the life, we are never in present. And in the abode of the Lord, it is always the present. There is no past, there is no future, there is nothing to lament, nothing to desire. Whatever way we want to serve the Lord, things will manifest by themselves. Right? So, see, the choice is ours. It is very, very interesting. Okay. The Lord has given us a very powerful tool, which is the mind. Okay. So, Manmana Bhava Madbhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru, right? Lord is saying, give your mind to me. If we have a desire to serve the Lord now, if we are not time, place, circumstances, but if we have the desire, okay, Lord, out of His mercy, still accept that with both hands. So, in this regard, there was a story like my mother used to tell earlier, like when I was very young. So there was a shopkeeper who was very miser. So he had tons of sugar, but he was so miser he did not used to offer even 50 grams of sugar to the Lord. But then one saint came to him and he said, okay, if you do not want to offer, at least do it manasa. And then every day he was manasa, he was offering some sugar. And then once he put the sugar, and then he forgot that he put, and then he put it second time. And when he put it second time, he remembered that he had put it earlier. So he was trying to remove it. Look at our situation. All these stories are for our own purification. He has not put it physically. So the 50 grams of so-called sugar was actually not a cost to him. He thought he had put it already. And then when he was trying to remove, his finger got burnt. Lord said, at least Mansa you can continue to offer me. Why are you removing it? Why we are discussing this thing is because the Lord just needs our sincere desire. Okay? He does not need our resources. He is very, very resourceful. Everything is His only. Why do we want to still be in the effect of Maya? Maya means something what is not. If it is not, why do we think it is? Yes, Krishna is saying yes. Word Maya itself is saying I am not. But we are very compassionate. We are saying no, you are. Maya is saying no, I'm not. No, we are saying you are. Okay. Next slogan. So I need a suggestion. It is 8:59. We are done. I mean, with respect to time. So kindly guide Lakshmi Anand Mataji if he can continue for some more time, or we should stop here.
You can take 5-10 minutes, Prabhu. No problem. Go ahead.
Thank you, Prabhu. मन सेवा पुरे देवः पूर्वरूपं विपश्यति अनुमीमांसते अपूर्वं मनसा भगवान् अजः. The omnipotent Yamraja is as good as Lord Brahma. For while situated in his own abode or in everyone's heart, like Paramatma, he mentally observes the past activities of a living entity and thus understands how the living entity will act in future lives. So we know Yamraja is referred as Lord here. So he is one of the Mahajans. So they have the potency to foresee what will happen in the future. So it is said it is very the same way it is difficult to predict what Krishna has in his heart for his devotees. Similarly, it is equally impossible to understand what devotees have there in heart. The devotees are even more merciful than the Lord. Of course, Lord only as a Paramatma gives that desire in the hearts of the devotees so that they could be even more glorified. And there are a number of examples like Narada Muni's Nal Kuvera, right? They cannot see anything bad. Even when we say Lord is giving us a form of life which is fallen, like in the animal form or even in the form of a worm. Okay, we must have to understand this was we who were focusing only on the sense gratification. The Lord is helping us to do it. That too with a boon that in those forms of the life, as we just discussed, if we do any bad karma, we will not incur anything new because those bodies are not for generating the karmas. They are to face the karmas. So there are 12 Mahajans, and then I heard recently Prahlad Maharaj is considered to be the most compassionate and topmost among the all. And it is a homework for all of us to remember the names of the 12 Mahajans and where it is mentioned about Prahlad Maharaj. And because Mahajan means Mahajan, let us do some research, and when we meet next time, we will have these two answers: name of the Mahajans, and then second, why Prahlad Maharaj is considered to be topmost among all the Mahajans also. Okay. With your permission, I'll just read the purport. It's very short. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One should not consider Yamraja as an ordinary living being. He is as good as Lord Brahma. He has the complete cooperation of the Supreme Lord, who is situated in everyone's heart. And therefore, by the grace of the Super Soul, he can see past, present, and future of a living being from within. The word Anu Mimasate means that he can decide in consultation with the Super Soul. Anu means following. The actual decisions concerning the next life of the living entities are made by the Super Soul, and they are carried by the Yamrajas. Okay. Yatha nas tamsa yukta upasate vyat mevahi na veda purvam param. nasta janma smritistatha. As a sleeping person, very, very important shloka. As a sleeping person acts according to the body manifested in his dreams and accepts it to be himself. So one identifies with his present body, which he acquired because of his past religion or irreligious actions, and is unable to know his past or future life. So when a person is sleeping, though he knows, but he is unaware that whatever things he is experiencing, good or bad, that person at that point of time does not know, okay, that it is a dream. But he is still, if you ask a person, if he enter the dream of that person and if he asks, is this real? 100% he will say it is real, because he is going through that pain. Similarly, we, okay, and what is the way to make that person realize that it was all temporary, to wake him up? Similarly, we in this life are also experiencing good, bad, right? All the times. What is the way to make us realize it is all temporary? By giving us the right knowledge. By giving us the right knowledge. Okay. So means, point is, waking up a person sleeping in the deep dream is equal to giving the right knowledge to a person who is apparently looking awake but is still sleeping. Last 50. Pancha bihi purute swarthan pancha vedatha pancha vedath pancha bihi ekastu sodashena trina swayam saptadasho ashnute. Above the 5 senses of perception, 5 working senses, the 5 objects of the senses in the mind, okay, which is the 16th element. So 5 working senses, right? Karmendriya, Gyanendriya, right? 5 objects of the senses, and 16th is the mind. Above the mind is the 17th element, which is the soul, the living being himself, who in cooperation with the other 16 enjoys the material world alone. The living being enjoys 3 kinds of situations, namely happy, distressful, and mixed. So we have read in Bhagavad Gita, right? 7.4, that 8 elements, right? Bhumi, Rapo, Anil, Vayu, Kamano, Buddhi, Evacha. So further, I think in 7th chapter only these 16 elements are also explained. So the point is, in the ladder, the soul is supposed to be at the topmost, okay, but that is possible only when our consciousness is high. Otherwise, the soul forgets its identity, right? It gets driven by the instructions of the lower elements in the ladder. Okay, our mind, our senses, they drive the show, and then they make us feel happy, distressful, and mixed. In this regard, one very nice thing I had heard recently, we'll finish in next 2 to 3 minutes only. So is if we want to progress in our life, then in our devotional life, then you know what? Let me correct myself. If you want to progress in our life, whether it is material or spiritual, we have to consider mind like a child. Means whatever demands the mind makes, we must know that these are exactly like Apuryamanam Achalam Pratistham, right? 2.70 Bhagavad Gita. These are like the waves of the ocean. They will come and go. A person is considered to be sage who does not respond back to the waves, means the thoughts that are coming in the mind. We must understand this thing very clearly in our mind today, that these thoughts comes in every single man's mind all the times. Okay, so we cannot say a person has become sage. As long as we are alive, these thoughts keeps on coming. Our intelligence, our soberness is in the fact that we don't respond to the thoughts that are coming to. We should not give the thoughts the form of an action. We at least sometimes, not if not often, we can experiment this thing. Let the thought come. Let us consider the mind as a separate entity. Okay, we are not the mind. Mind is just like a child who is making some demands all the times. So when the demand comes, let us not engage our all the senses, working senses, mind, intelligence, and soul, and everything in fulfilling the demand of the child. Had this mind been so much important, so much of our friend, why has it been dragging us life after life, life after life, life after life, still not settled? Okay, mind is very important. This only will help us in letting serve Krishna in different ways, but once it is purified. So we must not completely disqualify and reject this important element, because this is what we are going to help use in the service of the Lord also. But make a friendship with it, right? Bhagavad Gita 6.6, I mean 6th chapter, I don't remember the shloka, like mind is the greatest enemy and greatest friend. We have to do the friendship. So with this, I'm done with the session. Once again, I seek your forgiveness for all my inabilities at different points, and seek your sincere blessings so that I can try to do somewhat more justice to the opportunity that I've got. And
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, which book is this? Which book is this?
this is Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.
Bhagavatam is going on, Mataji. Bhagavatam is going on.
Okay.
6th canto Bhagavatam.
Which chapter was this, Mataji?
This was
Till
6th.
1st chapter.
Hmm.
And Prabhu, your shloka numbers were series of?
From 41 to 50, Mataji.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji.
Welcome, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, you like to take 1 or 2 questions? Just 1 or 2, because...
Yeah, sure, Mataji, you're there, so I'm not worried. Yeah, the questions.
Smart. Hare Krishna. So from the series of what Prabhu has taken the sessions through the sessions, related to this, anybody has any question, we can just take 2 questions. Anybody? No? Okay, so we take it as everything is understood. Yeah, because it was like, you have been giving us beautiful examples, Prabhu. I love the examples. Very, very beautiful. I think very practical for everyone.